Okay, let's do this thing. How's the lighting? I can't tell. Do you like my sweatshirt? Do you like that I just spilled water all over myself? Okay. Here we go with the 31-week pregnancy update. I will be 31 weeks tomorrow. Things were getting bad, and today they got worse, way worse. So I'm just gonna start with when things started going downhill. 28 weeks, you are tested for gestational diabetes. Okay, it's the sun because now it's hot, there's a cloud. Stay out, Mr. Sun. Sorry if the lighting gets screwy. It's the sun, blame the sun. Do me a solid. It turns out that I do in fact have gestational diabetes, which as long as you can maintain your blood sugar is not a huge deal. So I met with a dietitian and I got to see the diabetes doctor and everything seemed to be okay. When I was pregnant with Eliza, I had like widespread itching all over my body, mostly on my hands and my feet, and they thought it was this thing called cholestasis, and they never like diagnosed it, but now, like, it's just such a long story. Now I had it. Like, I had it back then, and her staying until term wasn't safe. So they tested my bile salts, which is what they use to diagnose cholestasis. They tested them when I was first pregnant, and they were at like a 2. And then I got them tested like a week before I found out I had diabetes, and they came back a 15. If you are over 10, you are considered to have cholestasis. They then wanted to retest them before starting me on the medication to make sure they're not going up. If the numbers had kind of stayed the same, they would have let me carry until 37 weeks. And I was like, all right, I'll take the test again, that's fine. So I went and I took it. I went in on Friday to see the doctor, and the numbers had risen. So they said, look, we can deliver you at 37 weeks if you want, but because your numbers are still rising, it's safest to take the baby out at 36 weeks. 36 weeks for me is April 24th. Eliza's birthday is April 27th. I didn't want them to have birthdays so close together, but I told them, you know what, just take the baby out. If they end up having, because induction can take a little while, if they end up even having the same birthday, I'd rather that than obviously the risk of stillbirth skyrockets at 37 weeks for babies whose mothers have cholestasis. It's basically something about the way your liver's functioning, so it pours over the excess bile into your blood, which somehow can harm the baby after 36 weeks. So with weighing all my options, I said, nope, just take her out, just induce me at 36 weeks. Better safe than sorry. I'd rather her be here 1 week premature and maybe have to stay in the NICU for a night or 2 than her be dead. As crappy as that sounds to say that, I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's what happens. So when you have cholestasis, they keep a super close eye on you, so we decided we would do an ultrasound once a week and a non-stress test once a week. So I go in on Tuesdays for ultrasounds, and on Fridays I go in for my non-stress test. Today is Tuesday that I'm filming this video, and I went in for my very first ultrasound since diagnosis. Lizzie came with me. I was so excited to see the baby finally because I hadn't seen her since, what, 20 weeks, whenever the 18 weeks, whenever the anatomy scan is. Like, oh, and I cut my own bangs and they're so crooked, but it's fine. I hadn't seen her, so I was super excited to go in. It was the same ultrasound tech who told me the gender, so I could tell that like she was a little off, and I didn't know if she was a little off or I was a little off, like if something was wrong, or maybe she was just having a bad day. But I could see the baby's heartbeat. She was not moving a ton because she's not been moving a ton. She's been kind of like slowly losing movements. And so I knew she was fine. I knew she was alive because I'd felt her earlier today. You know, I feel her enough to know she's alive, not enough like she had been moving. So the doctor, for some reason, wasn't supposed to check her growth until 32 weeks because when you have diabetes, you are at a risk for having a larger baby. For whatever reason, she just put in to check how big she was this week as well as next week, just so she could kind of compare the two. And when the ultrasound tech was looking at her, she was, like I said, very, very quiet. And I was like asking how's she doing, like is she normal size, and she was like her head is. She did tell me that the amount of fluid in my uterus looked good for the baby, so I was feeling okay, like okay, maybe she's just having an off day, because she said like these positive things. She said, I have to go check and make sure these are okay with the doctor. I said, okay. The doctor comes in, she's the maternal fetal medicine doctor, so the high risk doctor. She's the one that I've seen twice now. And she says to me that Veda is small. And I said, oh, you know, like I'm small, her dad's small, Eliza was small, she was like 6 pounds when she was born, like we're just small. And she's like, no, she's like intrauterine restricted growth small. She's in less than the 10th percentile of children in the womb at this gestational age. So she was weighing in at 2 pounds 10 ounces, which is very small for a baby at 31 weeks pregnant. Started telling me that now I'm going to be monitored even more closely, and she thinks that they might do ultrasounds twice a week. If anything on the non-stress test is even a little weird, she said anything but 100%, we will repeat the ultrasounds twice a week as needed, because now we're dealing with 3 medical problems in this one pregnancy, and obviously everybody wants the baby to be safe. Then we started talking about like what I should expect as far as like labor and delivery, and she told me that they will measure her weight again in 2 weeks, and if she hasn't like gotten out of under the 10th percentile, she will in fact be diagnosed with the IUR, I think she called it, intrauterine restriction, and I will have to deliver. She told me to prepare for her to be small, prepare to stock up basically on preemie stuff, which I had gotten a few preemie things because 36 weeks is technically premature. And I expected her to be kind of small because Eliza was small when she was born, but we didn't expect her to be this small, especially now that we're thinking of delivering her even 2 weeks earlier or 3 weeks earlier than originally anticipated. And this is the thing that like was the worst thing to hear, I think. And if you know Eliza, she has like a lot of medical problems. So I am like kind of used to bad news, you know. She has FPIES and she's had surgery and she has a ton of allergies, and we've been through like a ton of stuff, but for some reason this just really like bothered me. She told me don't expect to bring her home right away, meaning she's probably going to require a NICU stay. Now if we get to the 36 weeks, it will hopefully just be to gain weight, because they, by law, I think can't, there goes the sun. They, by law, have to, I think weigh 5 pounds or maybe 4, I don't, let me check the car seat. The car seat says, like therefore, like this, a preemie can come home in this. This one says 4 to 35 pounds. So I don't know. For some reason I thought it was 5. I need some light. How do I adjust the lighting on this camera? I think this is just, oh, wait. No, I'm zooming. I'm just zooming. I thought I figured out the, I'm not sure, but she said expect her to stay in after I go home, and that sucks. That's my nails, if you hear some weird sound. So things are not going good. I now have to get a whole bunch of preemie clothes. They're so hard to find. I've been to so many stores and I cannot find literally anything. That's what's been happening. That's what's been going on for the last 3 weeks now. And things just keep getting worse every time I go to the doctor. I actually was joking with Lizzie that I'm just not going to the doctor anymore because they're not telling me anything good. Obviously it was just a joke. I don't know from here on out what's gonna happen or what's gonna happen with her or when I'm gonna deliver. And they keep wanting to induce me earlier and earlier and earlier, so I'm afraid that I'm gonna go in not next week but the week after, and they're gonna be like, look, we have to take her out. She's not growing. She obviously has to grow. And if she has to grow outside the womb because for whatever reason she can't inside the womb, then I'm all for it. Like, I want my kids happy and healthy, both of them. I can just prepare the best that I can, and whatever happens, happens, I guess, at this point. So I'm gonna end this video here. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button if you wanna follow the journey. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and as always, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.